Kia ora, Mia from Man to Mind Hypnotherapy. This video is to give you some insights into the benefits of inner child work. Inner child work helps us heal the trauma that we've experienced in our childhood. Invariably, we continue through our adult life and we push all the stuff down that we experienced as children, whether it's minor events or experiences that we've attached a negative emotion to, like anger or sadness or shame or guilt or abandonment and rejection, right through to extreme examples of abuse. What this does to us is that it triggers us in our adult years. So you may be consciously aware of that relationship. When you are triggered, you might be able to tap that back to when you were a child, or you might be unconscious to it and you might just be on your automatic programming where you react to something and you're so emotional about it. Invariably, that emotion is attached to something in your childhood that needs to be healed. For me, I experienced inner child work back probably 2 decades ago. I was probably in my mid-20s and I attended a weekend workshop. And at that time I was asked to bring a picture of myself when I was a child, and I was taken through a beautiful visualization and asked to go back to my inner child and tell her that I loved her. And I remember I couldn't, and it was so profound for me. It was a really significant moment of awareness that what I actually thought about myself wasn't very nice, and it was affecting everything in my life, affecting my current relationships, affecting my work relationships. And that awareness was then my best friend, because once I knew that, it meant that I could do work around that. And it still continues to this day. I'm 43 years old and I still have to hold my inner child and tell her that she's lovable, tell her that she's beautiful, tell her that she's successful, tell her whatever she needs to live her best life. So in my hypnotherapy clinic, I utilize inner child work quite often, because invariably when people come for an issue, even if it's weight or wanting to quit smoking, there's invariably emotion that's held behind that particular issue. And like I said, we're really good at pushing that down and hiding it and just getting on with life, because life gets busy, right? As an adult, we're busy doing work, we're busy raising families, we're busy doing a whole range of things for everybody else, and giving ourselves the time to be still and to go inward and actually let those feelings rise. So acknowledging those feelings and actually doing something with them, we don't often do that. So that's the first thing that I do. I give people space, a safe space to allow that to come up. And when people are in that relaxed state, which is a hypnotic trance, or it could be, a meditation, a visualization where they're focused on a particular event in their childhood and they really feel what's going on for them, what emotion that event is triggering for them, that's when we can do some clearing around it. And the process pretty much works with bringing in the older, wiser self and getting them to face their little child, their inner child. So it's imagination, it's pretend, it's visualization, but it's so powerful to be able to give your inner child exactly what they need, that self-care, that self-love, that self-acceptance, anything that they need to be able to go through that process and then release the emotion that's attached to that event, that experience. So this process is very profound. And what happens is that people invariably start with the emotion of anger or sadness or whatever it might be for them. And when they go through that experience, and we might bring in different tools as well, like being able to talk to somebody that has traumatized the child. So it might be mum or dad or a sibling or somebody else within the family that child felt that they couldn't voice their concerns to. I might shift the process and get that little child to share their feelings with that person. So again, it's all imagination, it's all pretend, but there is so much power in it, because as I said, often we just push it down, we suppress it, and we get on with life. And all we're doing is holding that emotion in our body, and it simmers. I describe it like a pot of boiling water. And I remember years ago when I was doing this work to release this emotion, I just felt like I did not want to take off that lid because I thought that I wouldn't be able to stop crying. So I kept the lid on for a few more years until I was ready to do that work and let that emotion come up, and then acknowledge it, listen to it, and give myself what I needed rather than look externally for that acceptance and that love. So inner child work is incredibly profound. It is learning to give yourself exactly what you need, just you, ultimately, so that you can be whole and loving and ready to be loved and get on with life and not be triggered. So if you're interested in learning more about this process or experiencing it, you can take yourself through a meditation or a visualization, and I have tools to be able to tools to give to you that you can do that. So please get in contact with me, or if you feel like you need help, someone to facilitate that process with you, coming to a hypnotherapist is a really good idea. Like I said, I offer a safe space for you to bring up that emotion. There is no judgment. There's no requirement for you to share a lot of detail. So it's still a very private experience, and you're not talking and talking and talking about your problem like you might experience in other therapies. I know for me, that wasn't what I needed. And that's pretty much what I spent decades doing before I learnt this work, before I saw the power in this sort of work. And that's why I trained to be a hypnotherapist. So if you're interested in learning more or experiencing this process, please get in touch and I'll be happy to talk to you more about it. Mā te wā.